Yes.
It's like
The big one. Yeah, Leo loves it. It's a yahe ayahuasca vine.
that's what I was gonna say. That's exactly what it looked like. Beautiful.
And it broke in half. It was a big one. It broke in half, and I gave the other half to a hawthorn tree in Glastonbury.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yay. Okay, so I'm just gonna allow that to come forward. It's like yeah. So you guys want to breathe? Hello, Vicky Crystalline and Mr. Edward here before. I'm kind of like out of it right now. So you can just breathe into the energy of this beautiful day, of this Lionsgate energy. It has been a wave of a week, let me tell you. Beautiful.
Yes, it has.
So
Really been noticing my my smell has been heightened.
yes.
Even just now, like this, like a little fire going, just started in the pine. Wonderful smell from the pine.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Asalene mo okayetene salene ko oetetene. This beautiful ceremony being taken place here and this beautiful energy at this very moment. Thank you. It is a new beginning, a new year. And you are all tapping into the frequency of this very moment.
Let's get a little bit more wood. Sorry.
Beautiful. Feed the fire.
Yeah. One more bit, and then I'll be ready to go.
Really neat. This gives a really bad state for the one participating here right now at this very moment, even on your own timeline.
Set me up nicely. Okay. All here now.
Beautiful. Just as Mr. Edward has fed the fire, it is time to feed your soul. Feel into your bodies right now. Feel them calming and relaxing. Even under the regular breath. Each one of your bodies have shifted over this last year, and we will talk about this. You have freed yourself, all of you, in such a way that it's allowing your light body to become more transparent. You are feeling lighter in your body. Your light body is acclimating to a new way now. You are all in a new paradigm, if you believe it or if you do not. Each one of you are stepping in to a new way of being. This is the beginning this year. It starts now. The new beginning of the new way, of a new era. The next 7 years, you will learn to learn your way with energy of yourself. You will learn a new way in your societies also. Each one of you are bringing forth your own potential to that. Many of you are wondering, why would new Gaia still feel the turbulence of the old? Because they are still connected. Also in the new Gaia, that is a entrapment for some. It is not a place of oneness that one is going. You are all learning your own frequencies. You are adapting to your new way of being. Your systems are heightening. You are clearing the path for others also. But it is not to focus on that. Just be aware as you do your process, others are affected. The new paradigm that is here will say you are tapping into it. And in these dimensions of each one of yourself where you are holding your placement for a while. We'll do many shifts over the next 7 years. We are bringing this forward for their stepping stones. It is the beginning of a new era of change. You have all been preparing for this. Your energies are shifting, and the only thing that is needed is for you to be aware. In stillness, once you conquer, and we use this word conquer, because you are conquering your own way of being. You are your own king and queen. You are your own masters. And even all of this is just labels. We are bringing this forward for we want you to recognize you are everything. You always have been. As a change comes upon each one of you, you'll radiate a frequency and it will guide you into a new potential. And you will settle there for a while. We will use this word, but it is not even accurate. You are all going to the same place, no matter how you get there. Your bodies are learning to acclimate more into the light body frequency. Less food is needed, less sleep will eventually be needed. And no words. Your senses are turning on, for you are returning to who you truly are, your authentic being of nothing. We use this word nothing, but even that is a label. When you know that you are everything and that you have experienced everything, that you are everything beyond this physical body, even the I am, you are beyond that. The next 7 years is a celebration. That's how we see it. And as we say, we, all of your higher beings in the multidimensional, the universe is watching. Each one of you are participating. Many are struggling, and they will fight till the end, and that is perfect. It adds in a way. If you look at it as, oh, they are the shifters into a new paradigm. Because all is doing that in a particular way. We are bringing forth, Edward. Do you have any questions? You have amazing poetry to your voice.
I do actually. I wonder if you could share the perspective that you have on the alignment in the universe or the galaxy at this moment, with the 8-8 portal, or the 8-8, the Lion's Gate, and how, particularly this year, what it's bringing and what it's opening.
Change. That is the biggest we can say. This is the beginning of a new era. You may see, because of your timelines and your calendars, that one connects into the other. But this Lion's Gate, this portal, this frequency of energy that is opening up for all, in the assistance of your planetarian, your sun, your moon, everything is assisting this energy to open it up. Everything will be open wide this year. Everything will reveal itself. It cannot stop itself. Each one of you are holding a potential only within you. By returning to yourselves, you will learn to acclimate your new beginning, your new way of being, not attached to anything. Being present. We will put this out there, but it is not so accurate. Some will open up and be broken apart, and it may go on for years. But it is their choice. Everything will be changed this year in a good way. It's all showing itself of change. We have talked about this, about the interworld and the galactic exploding into like that.
So, sorry, my connection may be a little fuzzy, but I have a question. I think it's relevant to sort of the collective at the moment, but I'm going to use my God as a way to answer the question. So where the property that I've just moved to has quite a lot of gravel, and part of my contract for renting it is I have to keep the gravel free of weeds, and part of me realizes and aware that the term weed is kind of a silly term, because it's almost just things that we haven't learned to utilize, or we've forgotten how to utilize. And then so I've really been feeling into the weed, and it's interesting because a tree or a plant, it seems to me to be programmed, part of its DNA is to reproduce itself, and that's completely right. But then they've obviously evolved in very different environments. Some of the species that we now have in the same environment. For example, there was a tree in the garden here that was just, sprouting lots of its little offspring on the lawn, and I pulled them up. I put them into this sort of a wall that I'm building around the fire pits, as debris, like sort of different form of creation. But I guess my question really is, can you shed any light on the situation we find ourselves with weeds? And I feel like that weed is a good analogy for maybe some of the the characters and the other people or beings that we're experiencing in our lives and journeys at the moment. The greater part of me that wants to work, spending energy pulling up weeds or removing life. It's like, well, I keep on thinking, well, how can we work with this? So, for example, where I built this fire pit, there were loads of little yew trees, and I'm very connected to the yew tree. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm obviously probably be doing yoga here, and yew trees probably won't survive. So I pulled them out, and I've got them in little cuttings in the greenhouse. And I was like, oh, that'll make a wonderful hedge somewhere. That was a little part of my solution. But yeah, I was just wondering if you could share something on what I've sort of described there about weeds, and if I have to pull them out of the gravel. I actually sprayed some of them with vinegar because I don't want to use any of that, some of the nastiest chemicals still around. Yeah, I guess that's sort of, I don't know if you can feel into that. And didn't articulate that as well as I sometimes can, but.
This is a beautiful question. And the weeds is part of you. What does weeds truly mean? It means something out of place, not wanted. It does not matter the plant or the being. The weed in your life, as you're pulling the weeds from the ground, let it assist you in the weeds you're pulling and holding on to, no longer needed there. Just as the animals go into the forest and they forage for food, they're clearing away. They are keeping the balance of the grounds.
Yes.
You are also doing this just in a way that has been different than before. Also in the weeds of your landlord, you have made a contract with this landlord to show him in a way that some, what he calls weeds, are needed. Plants that are in your ground, the land around you, there is a purpose always.
I've really noticed that with, particularly when it's hot, you can very easily see it. Much better to have weeds that cover the soil and stop the soil from, being eroded and being like baked, so it almost dries the life in the soil. Whereas if you're just pulling out the weeds for the sake of pulling out the weeds, you then leave the soil exposed to be, eroded by rain or baked in the sun. So yeah, I've really noticed that as well.
Yes, the ground does not last as long when there is not balance with it. And so you will get it, he will get it, your landlord. You are doing it perfectly. And do you not see how you were pulling weeds? You connect to this beloved channel and you brought forward your pulling of weeds and pulled others' weeds out of them, things that they had been held deep in their rootage. Just by doing your own work, you do not even need to talk about it. It connects when you have that pure connection of no resistance. It connects, signals are made.
I mean, another way that I'd sort of articulate that is with let's say with people who we feel like we don't resonate with, or who we feel are weeds in our life. you know, I feel that there are a lot of those people coming through the collective at the moment, like popular people. And the way I see that, a little bit like, you know, these weeds I'm using to create compost, or, you know, to create habitat for birds and stuff in the forest.
Yeah.
It's like these people are a blessing in many ways, because they're showing us how we don't want to move forward, or how we don't want to, you know, be. And that, for me, I find that very refreshing, because otherwise you sort of sit in this like, well, why are these people doing this, or what's the purpose? Because a lot of people, I feel, they have the feeling that everything is you know, everything is exactly like it should be at moments. It's like all perfect. Everything that happens is perfect, until something they perceive that's, you know, really nasty or horrible happens, and then they get pulled out of that. Everything is perfect. It's like, why is this happening? And that's, to me, seems like a very simple way to look at things. That's very refreshing, hopeful, and positive. It's like, oh well, better that someone, and not, you know, something further away from you makes the mistake, so that then the focus that your consciousness is coming out of can learn from that and not make the same mistake. Whether that's to, you know, abuse power, or to you know, to do something silly, you know, like get yourself injured or hurt because, you know, you jumped into I don't know, some water that wasn't safe. I was at the beach today and I was thinking about that, and it came through like, I remember when I was younger at this beach, hearing about some children that, you know, got swept out to sea. I was like, oh, that was a horrible thing. And then I was like, oh well, I guess the silver lining of that is it happens once or twice, and then people become aware. And, you know, I had my son there, so then, you know, I'm more careful about letting him go into the, you know, deep into the sea, or even myself, you know, going too far out and swimming too far out and getting, you know, caught in the tide. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of ways to shift this perspective just a little bit. Doesn't mean you have to, you know, say these things are right, or, you know, you agree with them, but you can still see the value in them after they've happened, even if it's for them, you know, for us to show why we don't want them to happen again.
This is accurate. And a lot of people, a lot of souls need to hear this. As they are in their quiet space, a lot of light workers, beings, they're in their quiet space, and then something they need to give voice to, or it is inside of them. And they are hearing that scream to the world because they're screaming to themselves. But once you realize that it is you screaming to yourself, you can let go of it. When you scream to the world of something that is terrifying that you do not want to see in your world, you are adding energy to that, not realizing you're giving it a voice. So that time that you feel when you are triggered by a moment, a terrifying moment, go to the scream in you and love it.
And I've done that, you know, many times myself, but it's because I've done it myself, it makes it easier to communicate why now I don't feel that's a constructive way to be most of the time.
All those weeds are being pulled too in your soul collective. That's why everything is being revealed.
The other thing I've really learned from the weeds is you always perceive it to be more work or more effort than it actually is. When you actually start pulling up the weeds, you realize, oh wow, you know, I was listening to some music, or I was, you know, contemplating this or that, and I've just, you know, weeded half the garden, and actually really enjoyed it because I've been outside and the
Yeah.
wind singing and the sun shining, or I was doing something the other day actually, and there was this beautiful rainbow. Actually, that I was planting then, but it could have been I was weeding, and it gets you outside. So yeah, it's not. Sometimes things look a lot more daunting than they are.
Yes, it is very grounding for your energy system. There is
Mm.
automatically, even if you are not aware, there's things happening. It clears you. You see it as back breaking, and that's how you will feel it. It's all your choices.
Mm.
There has been much that has been talked about today, and we are very, very grateful for your questions. They are beautiful. This year is of change, of new beginnings. They are not scary. If you feel fear, love that. The whole world is changing at once. It was meant to. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. A caterpillar doesn't its one foot doesn't change into a butterfly, into a butterfly's part of the wing, and then the head changes. It all happens at once, more or less.
Yes.
The whole butterfly comes out fully formed. Just has to dry its wings off a little bit, and it's ready to fly.
Yes. And you ask for it this way. You did separations before in other paradigms where you did not make the shift. That's why it's happening this time. The whole world is doing it. That is so.
Mm.
That's a celebration. This year too is of celebration.
Mm.
That is a big one also. We'll be
I realized that when I was sort of exploring, let's say, the healing communities, and it came to me as like, well, there's always reason for celebration. If you can take a breath, there's reason for celebration. And rather than focusing on the healing, focus on the celebration, because the celebration is healing. But if you focus on the healing, you create things that need to be healed at the same time. If you focus on the celebration, the love that you invoke and you allow to come through you is natural tonic of healing. So do we want to, live in a world where we're constantly healing ourselves as, our primary focus, or do we want to live in a world where we're in a constant process of celebration and ceremony? And, for me, that's the language of that is a big shift that I've made and in the process of making, in a
perfect.
deeper way, and I feel would benefit a lot of other people.
And it is perfect for you to bring this forward right now. This beloved channel too is done with that part of healing. She just is. She's allowing herself to be in the present moment throughout all her days. That's what you're doing. That's why we are bringing forward that some it will take years, because they will hold on to that healing process.
Mm.
There is nothing to be healed any longer. You are learning your energies of how to move through what comes through you. It's not a healing. This don't feel right. Oh, I go here. That's it. Your labeling will be going away for most of you this year, in a way. You will not find that you are, oh, I have that pain. I need to heal it. No, I have this pain. I love it. That is all that is needed.
Mm.
So this day forward is new, a new year, a new era. That is great celebration. You made it. You made something that has never been made on this earth plane before.
it sometimes reminds me of the image of the bird that's it's been freed, its cage is open, but it's been so used to being in its cage that it just sits there for a while, doesn't realize that it can go out of the door. And actually, when the door is open to a cage, it's not a cage, it's a home. And the same thing that was a cage before has transformed into a home, because you can come and you can leave, and there's shelter, and you maybe have your little your place to get water or food, or clean yourself, whatever it is you do at home. And that's many ways, I think, what's happened on this planet. In places it was almost weird, created the illusion that it was a prison or a cage, but it's so easy to transform that illusion into one of a home.
And that's what's happening. Many will go more into prisons in their own life. In that prison, their soul will want to escape. So bring them to a new way of being. Whatever you are radiating at is where you're at. You're taking baby steps into new ways. This is the start. We will be with you with this journey. You called upon us eons ago. Each one of you who are connecting to this very beloved channel, you connect to her because you have called upon us, which is her, which is part of you. We are in celebration. Congratulations. Congratulations. I do.
Thank you.
Oh my God. My hands are like freezing. Beautiful.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so beautiful because I felt like a new year today when I woke up. I felt it like, you feel like on New Year's Eve and you wake up the next day. I felt it.
That's how I felt last night. I felt like New Year's Eve.
Yes, that's what I felt like.
Eve.
That's so funny. Beautiful.
Yeah, I felt really good last night.
Right. Okay, I'm going to end this recording. Thank you, everyone. May you all be blessed.